Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. The moment the campus bell was cornered by thugs in the alley, my childhood sweetheart rushed forward without hesitation. I couldn't bear to watch him get beaten to a pulp, so I stepped in front of him, only for him to grab the campus bell and run away without looking back. That day, the furious thugs beat me half to death. I missed the college entrance exam and became the laughingstock of the entire school. Later, under pressure from our families, my childhood sweetheart reluctantly chose to be with me. But he resented me for ruining his love story. In the end, he simply set fire to the villa, choosing to die with me. When I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn back to the day the campus bell was trapped in the alley. Watching my childhood sweetheart charge forward without hesitation, I turned and ran faster than him. Chapter 1. Help me. Is anyone there? Please save me. In a daze, I felt someone grab my wrist and drag me forward at full speed. It's Gloria's voice. Selena, hurry. We have to check on her. The moment I opened my eyes and saw the familiar alleyway, I realized I had been reborn. Without hesitation, I shook Eric's hand off. I'm not going. I have tons of homework to finish. I'm going home. Eric stared at me in shock, his eyes filled with disgust. Selena, Gloria is our classmate. How can you be so heartless? I didn't answer. I just turned and ran. Eric, this time I won't stop you from running to your death for her. When I got home, my parents had already instructed the housekeepers to prepare a lavish dinner. I mindlessly picked at my food, eating just a few bites, until my chopstick slipped from my fingers and clattered to the floor. Mom gently placed her hand on my forehead, her voice filled with concern. Selena, are you feeling unwell? I shook my head, but tears streamed down uncontrollably. Mom, I don't like Eric anymore. Can we cancel the engagement? Nonsense. Across from me, Dad slammed the table in rage, shooting up from his seat. Rolling up his sleeves, he marched straight toward the door. I'm going to their house right now. I want to ask those two parents why they let their son bully my daughter. Chapter 2. Eric's family had been our neighbors for years, and our companies were business partners. He was 3 months older than me. As a child, I loved following him around everywhere. Mom said that back then he was sweet and polite. Since I liked him so much, our parents decided to arrange an engagement for us. But in the end, he abandoned me for Gloria, leaving me to die miserably. Only then did I realize how obedient and well-mannered he truly was. So well-mannered that he never once expressed his true feelings. Even when he fell in love with Gloria, he kept it to himself, silently choosing me instead, making me foolishly believe he was willing to marry me. Now that I knew the truth, I would never interfere in his life again. Dad flung the door open, and a streak of sunlight poured in. In the golden glow of the setting sun, I saw something that shouldn't have happened. Eric, completely unharmed, gently supporting a pitiful-looking Gloria as they walked toward the villa next door. Stop right there. Dad stood at the door, roaring angrily at Eric. Are you out of your mind? Who the hell are you dragging along? Let go of her right now. Selena is at home crying, you brat. Get in here and apologize to her. Hearing the commotion, Eric's parents hurried out of their house. Now, in front of the doorway stood my furious father, Eric, and the delicate, trembling Gloria. Without a word, Eric's father strode forward and slapped him across the face. You little punk. Instead of focusing on your future, you're out here chasing girls. What do you take Selena for? Seeing Eric get hit, my dad's expression eased up slightly. His mother, Sandra, immediately rushed over to stop Eric's father from hitting him again. Enough. Eric is a good kid. He wouldn't do anything inappropriate. Let's hear what he has to say first, okay? My mom quickly pulled me forward to smooth things over, glancing at the girl Eric was holding. That's right, Eric is already grown up. You don't have to hit him. It'll only hurt his pride. Ah. Hearing my mom's words, Eric scoffed with disdain, his face full of resentment. If it weren't for Selena, would my dad have hit me? Then he pointed directly at me, his gaze sharp and full of accusation. Selena, when you saw a classmate in danger, the only thing you could think of was running away. Even if my dad beats me to death, I refuse to be with someone as selfish and cold-blooded as you. Smack. His father's slap landed on his face so fast that Eric didn't even have time to react. What nonsense are you spewing? Apologize to Selena right now. I'm not talking nonsense. Eric held his face with one hand, but his other hand tightly gripped Gloria's wrist. Gloria was cornered by thugs in an alley near school today. I heard her calling for help, so I ran over and saved her. But your so-called kindest girl in the world, Selena, ran away as if nothing had happened. How could I possibly be with someone like that? This engagement, I will cancel it no matter what. And one more thing. Gloria's parents died in a car accident 2 years ago. She has no one left. That slum she lives in doesn't even have a security camera. It's far too dangerous. We have so many empty rooms in our house. I'm going to have the housekeeper prepare a room for her until the college entrance exams are over. It's only 2 months. Sandra, seeing her son's face swollen red from the slap, turned to me with hostility in her voice. Selena, is what Eric said true? Did you really see your classmate in danger and run away like a coward? That's impossible. My daughter is not that kind of person. Dad's words rang with certainty as he turned to look at me, his gaze firm and unwavering. Chapter 3. I did run away. The moment I finished speaking, Eric immediately pointed at me with one hand. You all heard that, right? What else is there to say? I will never marry someone like her. For a brief moment, I saw disappointment flicker in my father's eyes, but he quickly suppressed it. So what? He replied calmly but firmly. My daughter's safety is the most important thing. Selena, you did the right thing. Never put yourself in danger for someone who isn't worth it. Feeling the unwavering support in my father's words, warmth spread through my heart. I took out my phone and began explaining. But I didn't just stand by and do nothing. Gloria's voice sounded absolutely terrified, and the thugs were laughing so sinisterly. There were too many of them. Even if I had gone, I wouldn't have been able to do anything except get myself hurt. So I called the police. It took about 10 minutes for them to arrive, but by then the alley was empty. I had to explain everything to them. Since both Eric and Gloria are here, we can all go to the station to file a report. That way, I can prove I wasn't making a false call, and we can help the police catch the ones who hurt Gloria. Dad smiled in approval and ruffled my hair. Smart and courageous, just like my daughter. I'll have the driver take you all to the police station right now. I'm not going. A piercing scream shattered the moment of peace. Gloria crouched down, clutching her head and sobbing uncontrollably. Eric immediately rushed to her side, his face full of concern. Gloria, what's wrong? Gloria looked up at him with teary eyes, a single tear perfectly slipping down her cheek at just the right moment. If we go to the police, all our classmates will know that I was attacked by thugs. How am I supposed to face them? How can I go back to school? I'd rather die than live with this shame. Then she turned to me, her expression shifting into one of grief and resentment. Selena, why did you call the police? Why are you trying to ruin my life? In your eyes, am I really just that worthless? Do I not even deserve to live? I frowned, tapping my temple with a finger. Gloria, are you mentally okay? Or are you some ancient relic just unearthed from a tomb? What era do you think we're living in? Instead of helping catch the criminals who hurt you, you're obsessing over something this ridiculous. Who would judge you for this? Suddenly, something felt off. I stared directly at Gloria, refusing to look away. And just as I expected, her expression faltered for a split second. She was hiding something. Turning to Eric, whose entire focus was still on Gloria, I asked. There were several thugs surrounding Gloria. How exactly did you manage to save her and get away unharmed? Eric scoffed. They were just a bunch of weak nobodies. I took them down in seconds. I could hardly believe what I was hearing. The same thugs who nearly beat me to death in my past life. The ones who left me hospitalized and unable to move for 3 whole months. And yet, Eric is claiming he easily fought them off. I glanced at Gloria, whose eyes were darting around, avoiding my gaze. Something wasn't right. The police needed to investigate this. Even Eric wasn't entirely on Gloria's side this time. He tried to reason with her, convincing her to come with us to the police station so that the criminals could be brought to justice. But Gloria refused. She kept shaking her head tighter and tighter until suddenly, she bolted toward the villa, aiming to slam her head against the wall. Gloria! No! Eric leaped forward, catching her just in time and pulling her into his arms. "I'm here, Gloria. Don't be afraid. I won't force you to do anything you don't want to do. As long as I'm here, I won't let anyone hurt you." As he spoke, Eric shot me a murderous glare, as if I was the villain who had driven Gloria to this. But while they were busy with their tragic love story, I had already called the police again, and this time I told them that the victim they were looking for was right here. Chapter 4. The police arrived quickly. As the patrol car pulled up to the entrance of the Villa district, Gloria's face turned completely pale. Faced with the officer's questioning, she no longer dared to lie. Tears streamed down her face as she confessed everything. The so-called thugs were actually Gloria's cousin and his friends. They had been waiting in the alley on Gloria's orders. Everything was staged. A deliberate setup to create a perfect hero saving the damsel in distress moment for Eric. The moment the truth came to light, the atmosphere turned ice cold. Every single person in the room darkened their expressions. Even Eric's face twisted in disbelief. Seeing the look on his face, Gloria immediately threw herself into his arms. "You love me, I know you do. And I love you too, Eric. I had no choice. I couldn't stand watching you and Selena together every day, getting closer and closer. I had to do this to help you realize your true feelings. Admit it, Eric. The one you love has never been Selena. You risked your own safety to save me, so why can't you be brave for me just one more time? Why do you still let your parents control you? This is the modern age. A forced marriage will only ruin your happiness forever. Woo." Tears streamed down her face, delicate and pitiful. Eric clenched and unclenched his fists, his emotions flashing between anger, frustration, and longing. In the end, he tightened his arms around Gloria, closing his eyes in pain. "Selena, stop holding on to me." Chapter 5. I didn't say a word and simply turned around, heading back home. My parents, worried about my state, shot a glare at Eric before following me inside. As soon as we stepped in, Mom slammed the door shut, blocking Eric's parents outside just as they were about to apologize. In the end, since no real harm was done, Gloria got away with nothing but a verbal scolding. Everyone could forgive her, but I couldn't. I would never forget. In my past life, when I threw myself in front of Eric to save him, it was Gloria who ordered her thug cousin to make sure I wouldn't walk away from it. If I held on to Eric this time, she would definitely come after me again. But this time I would gather solid evidence. She owed me a lifetime's worth of retribution, and I would make sure she paid for it. Seeing how upset I was, Dad's heart ached so much that he nearly cried. When he noticed me looking at him, he quickly forced an awkward smile, trying to comfort me. I couldn't help but burst into laughter through my tears. "Dad, can we pull our company's investments from Eric's family's business?" Dad nodded immediately. "Of course. That brat needs a lesson. But it'll take some time to pull out all our funds." Hearing my words, Dad looked at me with concern. "Selena, do you really want to cut ties with Eric's family completely? Or are you planning to use money to control him?" Mom sighed and added her voice, full of sincerity. "Baby, a forced relationship will never bring happiness. And Eric, he's not even that outstanding. He's not worth all this effort." I hugged them both tightly. "Don't worry. I know what I'm doing." The next morning, the moment I stepped into school, I noticed whispers and pointing everywhere. Even my desk mate was too afraid to talk to me. Instead, they slipped a folded note into my hand. The contents? Apparently, I had abused my power to force Eric to be with me. Eric, however, was truly in love with Gloria. So, out of jealousy, I had hired thugs to ambush Gloria after school, intending to humiliate her. Fortunately, Eric arrived just in time to save her, preventing a tragedy from happening. And now the entire class had turned against me. Everyone stood by Gloria, believing that even if I could bully one person, there was no way I could bully an entire class. Who had spread these ridiculous lies? I didn't even need to think. At the back of the classroom, Gloria sat surrounded by 7 or 8 classmates, all comforting her. From an angle where no one else could see, she smirked at me, her eyes filled with triumph. So, just because I didn't agree to cancel the engagement yesterday, she decided to punish me immediately. How dare she? Right in front of everyone, I walked straight toward Gloria. The moment she saw me, She dropped her arrogant smirk and put on a fragile, pitiful expression. Selena, is something wrong? Did you need something from me? I stared coldly at her pathetic performance. Did you spread the rumor that I hired thugs to attack you? Gloria shook her head frantically, then immediately burst into tears. No. It wasn't me. I have no idea how our classmates found out. Selena, please don't blame me. I'm scared. The next second, a strong force violently shoved me away from Gloria. Eric. He glared at me with rage burning in his eyes. Selena, I warned you not to bully Gloria. She only likes me. That's not a crime. Chapter 6. Watching Gloria once again throw herself into Eric's arms, crying like a helpless victim, I finally understood where her confidence came from. She thought that as long as she had Eric as her shield, she could do whatever she wanted to me. How ridiculous. I had a mouth of my own, so I immediately spoke up to clear my name. The thugs were hired by Gloria herself. I don't even know them. The police came to my house yesterday to take my statement. If you don't believe me, go ask the station yourself. But I had underestimated people's willingness to believe their own eyes. No one was interested in seeking the real truth. The college entrance exam is only 2 months away, Selena. You're just taking advantage of the fact that no one has time to check with the police. Gloria is so gentle. She even speaks in such a soft voice. How could she possibly know any thugs? But you're always stirring up trouble. Bullying Gloria is exactly the kind of thing you would do. I was speechless. I turned to Eric. You were there yesterday. You know exactly what happened. Why don't you explain it to everyone? For a second, Eric hesitated. He hadn't expected the events of yesterday to have spread among our classmates. His gaze shifted to Gloria. Gloria gripped his sleeve, pleading softly. Eric, I don't want to relive what happened yesterday. Eric furrowed his brows, and after a moment's silence, threw out a vague remark. Selena, stop causing trouble. Then he turned and walked back to his seat. He knew exactly what he had just done. By refusing to clarify, he let all the blame fall on me. The school bell rang. The classmates dispersed, throwing me contemptuous glances. And Eric? He kept his head down as if feeling guilty for falsely accusing me. Seeing this, Gloria's lips curled into a provocative smirk. Then, without warning, she grabbed my hand and violently slapped herself across the face. Ah! With a dramatic cry, she stumbled backward, crashing into a desk and rolling onto the floor. Tears streamed down her face as she clutched her cheek in agony. Selena, I only like Eric. I can't help it. Please just leave me alone. I beg you, stop hurting me. In an instant, the entire class turned against me, as if I were some villainous monster. Someone shoved me hard from behind. Then a crowd rushed to help Gloria up, surrounding her like she was a fragile porcelain doll. Eric's eyes were filled with disappointment. Selena, I really misjudged you. How could you be so cruel? Just then the teacher walked in. Seeing the mess in the classroom, their faces darkened. What's going on here? The teacher ordered me, Gloria, and Eric to go to the homeroom teacher's office to explain what had happened. On the way there, Gloria deliberately positioned herself so that her swollen red cheek was always visible to Eric. Every time Eric caught sight of it, he would glare at me. Chapter 7. I knew he had been holding back the urge to hit me the entire time. Finally, halfway to the office, he couldn't hold it in any longer. Selena, when we get to the teacher's office, just admit that you hired those thugs. It's not like they actually hurt Gloria. The teacher won't punish you too harshly. Just apologize and this will all be over. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Why should I? Why should I take the blame for something I never did? Just because you like Gloria, I have to take the fall for her? Eric, who do you think you are? The moment I finished speaking, Eric came to an abrupt stop and turned around. He yanked Gloria toward me, pointing at her bruised cheek and roared, Look at her. Look at what you've done to her. Would it kill you to take responsibility just this once? You're a rich girl. No matter how much your classmates dislike you, they wouldn't dare to actually bully you. But Gloria, she's different. She's poor, Selena. She can't handle being ostracized. So because she's poor, she gets to be protected. And because I have money, I deserve to be the scapegoat. What kind of bullshit logic is that? Seeing that I wasn't backing down, Gloria tugged on Eric's sleeve, her eyes filling with tears again. Forget it, Eric. Someone like me. She can hit me whenever she wants. Why would she ever feel guilty about it? Why would she even think about making it up to me? She forced out a delicate smile, one that looked so fragile and pitiful, only to flinch in pain when her lips pulled at the bruise on her cheek, causing fresh tears to fall. Eric, I'll be fine. Cut the act. Irritated, I snapped, shattering their dramatic moment. I pointed at the diamond-studded brooch on my clothing and fixed my gaze on Gloria. See this? It's a camera. My dad had it custom-made overnight to protect me from being framed by people like you. It recorded everything. Every second of what just happened in the classroom. How you grabbed my hand and slapped yourself. Gloria, I'm done playing along with your act. I'm sending the video to the class group chat so everyone can see your Oscar-worthy performance. I turned to walk away, but suddenly, I felt someone clutching the hem of my pants from behind. I looked down. Gloria had dropped to her knees. Selena, please. Don't ruin me. You have everything. And I just want Eric. Eric's gaze landed on the sobbing Gloria. But for once, he didn't reach out to help her up. Gloria, is it true? Did you slap yourself? A flicker of shame and panic flashed across Gloria's face. She lowered her head. Eric let out a self-deprecating laugh, then turned and walked away. That's when Gloria finally panicked. She jumped to her feet and chased after him, wrapping her arms around his waist from behind. Eric, save me. I was just scared that in the end you'd choose Selena over me. After all, she's your equal in status. But me, I'm just a poor orphan with nothing. As she spoke, she took a step back, and suddenly slipped, tumbling into the artificial lake with a piercing scream. Eric's cold facade shattered instantly. Without hesitation, he stripped off his jacket and dove in after her. Meanwhile, I casually rubbed my plain little brooch between my fingers and sent the freshly recorded audio of my conversation with Gloria and Eric to the class group chat. A few moments later, I looked up and saw Eric emerging from the water, cradling Gloria in his arms. He carefully picked up his soaked jacket from the ground and gently draped it over her shoulders. Watching this scene, I smirked and asked, "So, are we still going to the teacher's office?" Eric suddenly stormed toward me, ripping the brooch off my clothes and smashing it beneath his foot. When he realized it wasn't a camera, he let out a relieved breath. Then he jabbed a finger at me, his eyes blazing with fury. "I'm going straight to the teacher. I'll tell them how you bullied Gloria and pushed her to the point of jumping into the lake. Selena, just wait. You're getting expelled." Then he turned back to Gloria, his gaze filled with tender concern. "Let me take you to the infirmary. I'll get you some dry clothes and buy some medicine. I don't want you catching a cold." But Gloria shook her head firmly. "No, Eric. Let's go to the teacher first. We need to explain everything." Eric nodded without hesitation. "We'll do whatever you say." I trailed behind the two of them, watching as the class group chat exploded. Our classmates and even the teachers were all furiously condemning Eric and Gloria after hearing the recording. And yet, the two of them continued marching hand in hand toward their doom. How laughable. Chapter 8. The moment we stepped into the homeroom teacher's office, Gloria's tears fell like a torrential downpour. The teacher, who already knew the truth, didn't ask a single question. His face was black as coal. But Eric, completely unaware of this, assumed the teacher was furious at me. So with gritted teeth he launched into a speech, twisting the facts beyond recognition. He piled accusation upon accusation, fabricating crimes I had never committed, framing me as the villain. As he spoke, he grew bolder and bolder, even threatening that if the teacher didn't expel me, he would go directly to the principal. He claimed the teacher was biased, that I was being protected unfairly, and that it was an injustice against poor students like Gloria. The teacher's breathing grew heavier with fury. His hands trembled from how hard he was trying to suppress his rage. Then, without a word, he pulled out his phone, opened the class group chat, and played the recording over the office speakers. The moment Gloria's own words echoed through the room, her crocodile tears vanished. And then she fainted on the spot. Eric immediately scooped her up and bolted toward the infirmary, sprinting as if his life depended on it. But even as he ran, he still had the audacity to turn back and throw one last remark at me. "Selena, You've become someone I don't even recognize. When I returned to class, the same classmates who had treated me like a monster just hours ago swarmed me with apologies. I simply waved them off. I had died once before. A few meaningless accusations, they were nothing. But those two, the ones who caused all of this, I would never let them go unpunished. The entire day passed, and neither Eric nor Gloria showed up to class. No doubt, now that the truth had been exposed, Gloria was too afraid to return. Too afraid to face the classmates who had once defended her. Chapter 9. For the next few weeks, I acted as if Eric and Gloria didn't exist. I focused all my energy on studying, preparing for the college entrance exam. Meanwhile, Gloria struggled to endure the judgmental stares of our classmates. She would often burst into tears and run out of the classroom, forcing Eric to chase after her to comfort her. And when she wasn't crying, it was always one excuse after another: a headache, a stomachache, anything to keep Eric away from class so they could skip together. By the time we had our final mock exam, Eric's grades had plummeted so badly that he wasn't even qualified for an average university. That night, after finishing my evening study session and returning home, I was blocked at the entrance by Sandra, Eric's mother. "Selena, can you come over to my house for a bit? I need to talk to you." I had no interest in whatever she wanted to say. "Auntie, it's already late. If there's something you need, just say it here." Sandra sighed heavily. "Selena, you know about Eric's grades, don't you?" I nodded indifferently. Since you know, why haven't you done anything to help him?" Seeing the blame written all over Sandra's face, I finally realized. So that's where Eric got his delusional thinking from. Why should I help him? Sandra sighed again, as if I were the one being unreasonable. "You know very well that the reason Eric's grades have dropped is because of that little vixen. What's her name again?" "Gloria. Your uncle and I already refused to let her move into our house. So it's your responsibility to watch over her at school. You should have stopped her from distracting Eric. You need to remember you are Eric's fiancé." Chapter 10. I was speechless. "Sandra, the college entrance exam is tomorrow. Even if you intervene in Eric's studies now, it's too late." Sandra froze for a moment, but then, as if coming to a firm decision, she grabbed my wrist tightly. "Selena, sweetheart, I know how much you love Eric. If Eric doesn't get into the same university as you, then next year you'll both retake the exam together. During that time, you'll keep a close eye on his studies so that he doesn't get distracted by irrelevant people again. And when you both get into university next year, I'll personally throw you a grand engagement party." I subtly pulled my hand away. "No need for that, Auntie." Sandra's face darkened immediately. "What do you mean? You're not willing to repeat a year for Eric? How could you be so stubborn? Do you have any idea how amazing Eric is? If you don't hold on to him, he's going to get snatched away by some other girl, and then you'll have no one to cry to. Just listen to Auntie, all right? Help Eric study. The better he does, the more you'll benefit in the future. Besides, you're the only child in your family. Eventually, Eric will be the one managing your family business." "That's enough." I cut her off impatiently, tired of her endless brainwashing. "Eric can live his own life. My family's company has nothing to do with him. Don't concern yourself with it. You should worry about your own family instead." My father had nearly finished settling the accounts, and soon we'd be pulling out all our investments. I glanced over at Eric's family's mansion. Soon it would no longer belong to them, and I would never have to see their disgusting faces again. The day before the college entrance exam, Eric, who had treated me like I was invisible for weeks, suddenly asked me to meet him behind the school. He said he regretted everything. I gladly accepted. Did he truly regret it? I had no idea. But I did know one thing. Gloria had finally lost her patience, and she was about to make her move. Chapter 11. After the evening study session, I arrived at the dark, eerie alleyway as promised. The streetlights flickered ominously, casting long, unsettling shadows. Just as I expected, Eric was nowhere to be seen. Instead, Gloria stepped out of the darkness, holding Eric's phone, a smug smile on her face. "Surprised?" she sneered. "It was me all along." I simply stared at her, unmoved. "Why did you call me here?" Gloria ignored my question and instead waved Eric's phone in front of me, gloating. "Oh dear Eris, all it took was me sending a single message from Eric's phone, and you came running. You must be absolutely obsessed with him, huh? Ha, but it's pointless. Eric's heart belongs to me. He spends all his time with me, caring for me and protecting me. It must hurt you so much to watch, doesn't it? I didn't bother to interrupt Gloria's delusions. I just stood there, watching her make a fool of herself. But someone was growing impatient. Enough with all this useless chatter. At that moment, from the other end of the alley, 7 or 8 men appeared, each wielding iron rods. The leader, a rough-looking thug, pointed at me and glared at Gloria. This girl, she's the one you said could cough up $1 million? Gloria, are you messing with me? Gloria's face paled as she hurriedly tried to explain. Cousin, I wouldn't dare lie to you. She's the heiress of a major corporation. Forget $1 million, she could pay $10 million if she wanted to. But cousin, you have to make sure there are no loose ends. If her father finds out about you, we're both dead. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, so they actually plan to kill me. The thugs started closing in. From behind them, Gloria's voice turned dark and hoarse. Selena, just die already. If it weren't for you, I would still be the pure and untouchable campus beauty. I wouldn't have fallen from grace and turned into the class pariah. Even Eric is starting to pity me instead of love me. I can feel it. His feelings are changing, turning into sympathy. I won't accept this. If you're gone, there'll be no engagement to hold Eric back. He'll love me again. Gloria laughed like a madwoman, her face twisted in obsession. But instead of fear, I felt a rush of exhilaration. Stop right there. A shout split through the night. Just as the thugs lifted their iron rods about to strike, dozens of bodyguards stormed out from every hidden alleyway, their cameras flashing mercilessly as they snapped countless photos. The once ferocious thugs suddenly froze in panic, their faces drained of color. Gloria tried to run, but my men grabbed her instantly. With all the evidence in hand, I called the police on the spot. Gloria's face went blank in shock before twisting into a venomous glare. Ah, so you knew all along, Selena. What did I ever do to deserve this? Why are you trying to ruin me? I simply laughed. How ironic. The truly vile ones always see themselves as the victims. I couldn't be bothered to argue with her anymore. 10 minutes later, the police arrived. Everyone, including Gloria and her hired thugs, was escorted straight to the station. Chapter 12. The news about a wealthy heiress and her fiancé getting ambushed in an alley exploded overnight, trending at the top of the searches. By morning, I was already dressed and ready for my college entrance exam. And yet, Eric was sitting outside my house. The moment he saw me, he scrambled to his feet. Dark circles under his eyes, disheveled hair. He looked like he hadn't slept all night. His lips parted slightly as if struggling to find the right words. But before he could speak, I walked past him without stopping. He gently grabbed the hem of my sleeve, his voice tinged with regret. Selena, I'm sorry. I didn't know Gloria was like that. I almost got you killed. I'm glad you were prepared. Can you let this go? Gloria, she's pitiful. But don't worry, I won't be with her anymore. I'll fulfill our engagement properly and cut ties with her completely. I shook off his hand. She no longer has a chance. And neither do you. After the college entrance exams, Eric's entire family showed up at my house again. Unlike their usual fake politeness, this time, they were stopped at the gate by the servants. Eric's father, furious, began shouting curses from outside. Selena, what the hell is this? Come out right now. My son was so heartbroken because of you that he didn't even take the exam. You owe us an explanation. I pushed the door open and leaned against the frame, staring at the outraged couple. Oh, so now that you know my parents are on vacation at a private island, you thought you could come here and bully a little girl. A flicker of embarrassment flashed across Eric's mother's face, but she quickly composed herself. Of course not, Selena. You and Eric grew up together. Are you really going to throw away all those years over a misunderstanding caused by some wild girl? What a waste. Then she shoved Eric forward. Well, say something, Eric. For a brief moment, Eric's eyes lit up as he finally looked at me. Selena, I'm sorry. I know I disappointed you by not taking the exam. But I've come to realize without you nothing else matters. College. Exams. None of it means anything if I can't have you. His poorly acted sincerity made me scoff. Eric, are you trying to pin the blame for your failure on me? You knew perfectly well that you had neglected your studies for too long. Even if you had taken the exam, you wouldn't have scored well enough to get into any decent university. Eric panicked, desperately trying to explain. No, that's not true, Selena. If you repeat a year with me, I swear I'll make you proud. I'll study hard, get into the same university as you, and we can go back to the way things were. Please don't leave me. I watched him lower himself, begging me. Not because he loved me. It was never about love. It had to be the company's withdrawal. I had foreseen this. That's why I sent my parents on vacation, keeping them away from Eric's family's shameless pleading. Because they hadn't lived through my past life's suffering. And Eric was someone I would never forgive. I closed the door. The last sliver of light disappeared from Eric's eyes. Soon after, security threw them out. By the time I received my university acceptance letter and flew to reunite with my parents on the private island, Eric's family had completely collapsed. Bankrupt and desperate, they were forced to flee their mansion. But the debt collectors I had notified beforehand were waiting for them. Eric's parents were arrested and thrown in jail. Eric ended up homeless, a fallen young master reduced to nothing but tabloid gossip. Every few days, his shameful photos would trend online. One day he was digging through trash for food. Another, he was caught stealing steamed buns, chased down and beaten. And me, I never saw him again.